from the age of Big Brother.
If they want to get you, they'll get you. The NSA specifically targets the communications of everyone. They're collecting your communications.
All right, folks, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all political persuasions.
Wawa supporters
now back.
and Sheetsians.
We are now back. All Wawa supporters, Sheetsians. No, we are, by the way, it's the Wawa Republic. I want to be clear about that. I'm wearing my Wawa shirt. And for those listening on the pod, and it is amazing. It's a wonderful place. Russ, by the way, who's here? We got Blake, we got Russ, we got Mike McCoy. Russ had his first Wawa this last week. Wow.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
And
can we just
to be
get
honest, it's just QT.
Mid. Oh, he's not. He's gonna go up. I was at. I went to a
QT is like the most mid.
I went to a Sheets.
It's literally
three times
the most mid
this past,
place
actually
you will
four
ever
times.
go.
I went to a Sheets 4 times this past week because I was in Seven Springs, Pennsylvania.
You were in like Pittsburgh area, right?
Yeah, I was in Pittsburgh. I went to the World Board Game Championships. 100% only cool kids allowed at that. But we went to Sheets, and what I discovered at Sheets is, you guys know Uncrustables, normal Uncrustables?
Yeah.
So they sell a brand of Uncrustables at Sheets, and they have Fluffer Nutter Uncrustables. So peanut butter and marshmallow,
Actually sounds good.
as well as peanut butter and honey, and peanut butter and raspberry jam. So I tried all 3 of them because I am a decadent Uncrustables
Sheets used to have this
maxer.
really good, they sold buffalo eggs. You guys ever try buffalo eggs?
Buffalo eggs?
So it was basically like hard-boiled eggs that had been somehow they hard-boiled them in hot sauce.
Wow.
And so it was like a spicy hard-boiled egg.
That's
And
depraved.
I don't like it.
That's
I don't
depraved.
like it.
That's
They were
sickening. That's
amazing.
sickening and upsetting.
It gets into the shell.
I feel a
Amazing.
little I feel a little ill now, but I might eat one anyway.
I don't know exactly how they make them, but no, you don't buy it with the shell. They're already shelled.
got it.
And then so it's like
And
the
then
egg itself is like
yeah.
red, and then I'm not a
They like
egg
soak
man.
it. It's like what the Japanese
I don't
do,
like
where they
hot
soak
sauce
it in
like
soy
that.
sauce.
The
and then they
crazier
put it
thing
in
I'm
there.
imagining,
exactly.
crazier
It's
thing
like
I'm
so.
imagining is like, what if there was some way they could make it so it was a hard-boiled egg and the yolk was like spicy buffalo sauce flavored.
Wow, something the Chinese can genetically modify.
I will
sure.
say, if the Chinese can pull this one off, I will probably submit to Beijing, and I shall join their new modern tributary system.
the noises.
Their proper culinary appreciation. All right, so first topic, Jack. You were very amped up. You're very passionate about this one, and we were saying,
As we all should be.
This show is named Thoughtcrime, so we should probably engage with a story that involves literal thought crime and its related offense, word crime. We're talking about Shiloh Hendricks, of course. That is a woman who went unfortunately viral about a year ago because she got in a confrontation with a stranger at a playground, and she did do the unforgivable sin of the post-2020 age, which is she said a naughty word, and so she was
The naughtiest.
indicted and taken to court. Jack, you can take it from here.
Yeah, so this was a really interesting case, and I think we've all kind of covered it on our respective shows. And there was an interesting question that we got in over the week, and I kind of want to just sort of hash it out because I got this in from, conservatives and people saying, and particularly, and I'm just going to say it, particularly got the question in from some women who were saying, I don't understand how what she did is okay. I don't understand why you would defend someone who did what she did. I don't understand why we're getting behind somebody like this. And I said, well, first of all, it's about freedom of speech. Like, that's number one. We don't put people in jail for words, which are, thought crime, word crime. We don't do that. We just don't do that. But specifically, she wanted to know, and people were asking, why is it that this isn't a criminal act? And one of the big pieces there, and Blake, I'll throw it to you because I know you know the details, is she was not convicted for anything to do with the child. She was acquitted of anything to do with the child. She was convicted of this what do they call it? It was disturbing the peace, disorderly conduct.
No,
disorderly conduct.
It literally
against
was that, Jack. That
the streamer.
The context of this is she has this stranger get in her face, recording her, telling her, say this specific thing, say this specific word. And so she does. And she is the one who is criminally charged as a result. That is the man who confronted her, who, actually, let's just go. Let's get Brian Carolus is
Clip
the
30.
free speech lawyer. He was representing her. He had an incredibly viral response to it, very energetic. Let's play that full clip.
But just before we play the clip, if we can, I just want to be clear about this, that she was acquitted of any of the activity to the child. The jury said not guilty toward the child. So for people asking that, but she called a child the N-word, she was acquitted. She was acquitted of disorderly conduct. She was only convicted of the activity towards the streamer, the Somali TikTok streamer.
Egregious. But let's let the attorney do it. He got very amped up. There's not many times where an attorney getting fired up is really great content. Sure. But it was this time. Let's play clip 3.
Let's make something clear here. Let's make something very clear. She's acquitted, not guilty, right? Not guilty with the child. The state reads a 5-minute victim impact statement about the child? She was acquitted about the child. She's convicted on the count involving the cameraman, who they never called to testify. Keep this in mind. They never called the cameraman to testify. This judge prohibited us from telling the jury that Shire Jamali, had a GoFundMe page, $340,000. He testified that it was done in May last year, done. That's not true. There's a link on the bottom of the page that goes to another open account. My investigator hit the link last night, donated $10. It's open. You can donate right now. You can donate right now to Shire Jamali's GoFund page right now. It's open. He testified under oath and perjured himself. He perjured himself over and over and over and over again.
I think we need to shut down GoFundMe.
What we need to shut down is the state of Minnesota, because
it's facts.
This is
not
every
Minnesota
detail
that I
of the
grew up
story.
in.
Every detail of the story is basically like, of course, this took place in Minnesota.
insane,
The number
dude.
one, I think
And
Minnesota must
before
generate
we
the
get
most
too
content of
outraged,
any state for thought crime stuff.
Before we get too outraged, I just want to, I want to try to do this, explain the situation so we can clearly explain why we're so outraged. She is acquitted for any of the activity towards the child. She's convicted of the activity towards the TikTok streamer, who, by the way, was screaming at her while filming her. And she doesn't threaten him. She doesn't advance on him. She's actually walking away. She's holding her child in her arms while she's walking away. And he is the one clearly provoking her. And that is like, to me, it just seems so crazy, because like you could almost see if the charge went the other way. I could maybe see some people's, I could see some people's reaction being the way that it was, like, well, you did that to a kid, but she was acquitted for the activity towards the kid. She was completely acquitted. So that, to me, number one, on its face, I don't think we should be charging people for speech. That's first and foremost. But second, the verdict itself makes no sense. Sorry. So please, let's outrage away.
I agree. I agree. This culture that we're in right now, where the no words has it's gotten out of hand, and we're now seeing it with multiple things.
But it's not just no words, because he says the word and he was not charged at all.
Yeah.
I mean, what it really is that actually, if you want to get into it, it's practically like feudal hierarchy of privilege. It's sort of like in feudal Japan, a samurai could carry a katana around, but a peasant could not carry a katana around. And so these certain bad words, They're the katana.
Yeah, so if you're white,
of 2026.
if you're white, you're
Yeah.
a second-class citizen. If you're white, and that's why I said that it's anti-white, because this is a law or a rule, right, that applies to the white race in a way that it applies differently to other races. And that's not what we do in this country. That's just not what we're supposed to be about. We're supposed to be colorblind, and we're supposed to be everyone is treated the same by the same standard. So you can't have one standard for one race and one standard for another race. It just doesn't track.
Yeah. Mikey.
I mean, yeah. I mean, the left is the one that tells us that simultaneously we need to be colorblind and then also see color. And then whenever a white person, does see color or kind of use just the common denominator of, mentioning things, crime rates, things like that, all of a sudden they're the evil person. But like what you brought up earlier, you can do the most egregious, disgusting, debaucherous thing in the United States as a leftist and then say that you are innocent, blame it on the white person, and all of a sudden have millions of dollars raised for you in a GoFundMe account. And I just think that like, it's scary, more so just for the future of our country, that like we actually have people that are completely blinded. Like not just, we have it on our side too, but there's like millions of people that genuinely think that this guy is innocent, that this woman is insane, like it's crazy. But it goes beyond that. Like there's people that murder people, and they're the ones that are innocent, and the people that were murdered are the ones that are guilty. They're the ones that
How
did
much
things
money
wrong.
did Carmelo Anthony raise?
Yeah.
No, exactly.
Hundreds of thousands. Although
I thought it was way more. I thought it was way more.
Possibly over a million. Yeah, so check that out. See if you can find it. But
Looking.
what I will say is, I actually feel, in a weird way, this is a white pill moment in that, yes, she got charged with a crime that I don't think you would have seen much in the past. But the reason you wouldn't have seen this before is you didn't have TikTok streamers as a profession. You didn't have everyone going around with a camera and immediately videotaping everyone all the time. I think if you did, I think you actually would have seen a ton of this in the 2000s, in the Bush years, in the Obama years. It actually would have been pretty common to see attempts at that sort of thing. What stands out to me about this case is that, like, let's be frank, her behavior was not very great. You shouldn't probably yell the N-word at a child, I'll be frank. But that people were still able to maintain their composure and say, that doesn't matter. What matters is they charged her for a crime basically because of her race and sex. They wanted to go get a Becky, get a Karen. And they charged her with what is essentially a thought crime, what is a speech crime, that this is unconstitutional and we should oppose it, even if we would say you shouldn't do that sort of behavior, period. And people pretty quickly aligned that way. And I think that is a change from where we would have been even 5 or 6 years ago. You guys probably remember 2020 and how overwrought people would get about systemic racism and everything else. And we are at the point where we have learned to stand up against bullying in that vein and say that this is unacceptable behavior. And in this case, we lost at trial, and there's going to need to be an appeal, and it might not even end the way we want it to, but we've finally gotten people to the point where they understand what we're supposed to believe, what we're supposed to argue, that freedom of speech includes the right to say mean things in an argument in public, and we can push back on this. I think that is a good change. It's the sort of change, certainly, that Charlie fought for.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I agree.
So that's my white pill take on what is, not a very fun story overall.
Wow, great white.
Well, it's like this is the one that's going to produce the backlash. This is the one that hopefully we come back and we say, just as a group of people, no, you can't. And by the way, she got a 90-day suspended sentence. So if she does anything to violate the terms of her probation, she can go to jail. She can actually go to jail for saying a word. And I don't want to live in that country. And so what I would say to the folks and good people and fans of the program who wrote in with the question, I would say, look, I get where you're coming from, and I do think that obviously the behavior on all sides was rude. And by the way, she is not the one who started that. Shiloh Hendricks did not start that situation at all, and would be very clear about that to everyone. And at the same time, though, I don't want to live in a country where, in the UK, right, where I just came back from, that 13,000 people a year are arrested for speech crimes. Yeah. 13,000. Did you guys know it was that high?
No, I didn't even know it was 13,000.
It's 13,000. And some of these, it's just like, I should say, some of them are fines, like it's not a full arrest, but like you can be fines and everything else. I met with Lucy Connolly, And if you guys remember Lucy Connolly, her story was she had made that post after the Southampton stabbings when 3 little girls were hacked to death at a Taylor Swift like dance party thing. And just little girls were just hacked to death by this Muslim migrant. And, you know, she made a post just saying, you know, we got to get them all out of here. And, maybe included some stuff about the hotels where they live as well. And she was locked up. She got a 3-year sentence for that. I don't think she served the full 3 years, but she was locked up and put in jail. And she's a mother. And I met her, and she's a sweet lady. And again, that was a Facebook post. That was a post that, you know, she was, you know, could it be moderated? Could it be, you know, taken down? Whatever, you know, those are all things we can talk about. But the idea of, which I also don't stand for, by the way, but the idea that you would put someone behind bars for speech, it just runs against everything that we have fought for as a country, for the First Amendment. And by the way, the First Amendment is about tolerating political speech that you don't like. That's actually what the word tolerance means. You don't tolerate things that you like, you tolerate things that you don't like, right? And so even though tolerance is not a Christian virtue, but that's a whole different discussion, that the idea being, though, for freedom of speech, it's about speech you disagree with. It's about speech that you disagree with. And guys, you know, I'm sure we can all say this, that we saw in the wake of Charlie's murder, we saw horrific things stated online and in person and about our friend. And people certainly faced consequences for that. But I don't recall a single one of us ever saying something like, oh, that person should be in jail for that post.
No.
Because it's just not who we are.
Not once.
No. I agree.
It's a good point, Jack.
All right.
I've been thinking about this.
I love it.
Yes, lovely. All right, so we actually had a related thought that one of the things that stood out is that she's getting prosecuted for this in part because we live in the modern panopticon. There's always people, everyone has a cell phone, has a camera, has a video recorder, and they're happy to pull it out and start recording whenever anything happens, basically. But we're increasingly moving towards the reality where everywhere is being recorded at all times. Gentlemen, it is time to debate flock cameras. We actually got a question about this during the AMA last week, but Jack wasn't on the AMA, so we're going to revisit it. Also, you guys weren't on the AMA. You should join sometime. And so it's time to revisit flock cameras. Everyone here knows what flock cameras are, right? For those who don't, who are listening, flock cameras.
I think we should always try to explain things, like whatever something is.
We're doing.
Something.
So flock cameras. They are a startup company, a tech-related startup company. They make cameras, and okay, we've had surveillance cameras forever. What's different about these is it's the fusion of camera technology with, as you'd expect, AI technology, the ability to read things on their own, collect and assemble data on their own. And so what flock cameras are able to do, for example, is they're able to log every license plate that comes by on a street and then put it into a database. What license plates went along this street on this day? And put it into gigantic spreadsheets so that law enforcement can go back and look at them later. The limiting factor on closed-circuit television or any other security footage always used to be you had to actually go back and watch the footage if you wanted to get anything out of it. Right. And they usually deleted it, especially back in the day. It was on tapes. They would just reuse the same tapes. So you couldn't go back and look at something 6 months later. Right. We are now at the point, and they're rolling this out in cities, where the cops decide that they have a suspect. Maybe there's a vehicle they're interested in. They can go Flock, which is a private company, and say, tell us everything about this car, this model, this license plate, and they can tell you everywhere that car is driven in the past 6 months, the past year, possibly ever, once there's been enough data. And it's all going to be compiled. They'll know its patterns of movement throughout the city, what are days where it wasn't driving where it would normally be driving. Just vast amounts of information all coming from this tech company and being saved by this tech company and being shared with the government. And so people are losing their minds, and they've decided that they're a form of, I think, modern slavery is what some people have said. Yeah. Other people are flipping out, and they are destroying the cameras. True. We may have people who destroy the cameras, go on trial, and then are just acquitted because people say, yeah, smash those cameras. That's really cool. That's true. So how do we feel? Are we pro Flock camera or are we anti?
I'm very anti-Flock.
You're anti-Flock.
I'm very.
You're breaking away from the Flock.
It's exactly, yeah, true. Yeah, no, I think
They're flocking this way.
I think flock cameras are another version of essentially what we saw with Prism, where the government was able to access a lot of data without being able to, with essentially no jurisdiction on what they had to do with it. They could do whatever they wanted with it. And when we look at even the Biden era, when we look at Instagram, Facebook, all of these companies gave the government a back door and were able to censor anybody. So it's like, yes, Flock is a private company, but how do we know that the government doesn't have a back door that they can just use this data for whatever they want?
Yeah.
And then at what point and what type of mass casualty event or what type of mass casualty event is going to happen where all of a sudden the government goes, actually, we're going to take control of this. So that's where my brain goes when it comes to this kind of stuff, and that's where I am very anti Flock.
All right. Is anyone pro Flock? Jack, are you pro Flock?
I'm 100% pro Flock for blue cities.
For blue cities. All right. Build this out. Build this out for us.
Well, they deserve it.
They deserve it. They just like. Are we declaring
Like
Philadelphia the punishment
the city of
sphere?
Philadelphia. City of Philadelphia right here. Totally deserves flock cameras everywhere. These
Slippery slope.
You got to understand. Sorry?
That's a slippery slope, though. To be fair.
Have you
What
you
about
seen
crime-ridden
Have you
cities?
seen how bad the crime is in these cities?
That's what he meant. Now, he
This
didn't
is pretty
mean-
far
No, but
down the
absolutely.
slope already.
There's red.
For sure.
So that was my thought. Is people point out, yeah, it can help with crime in bad cities, but the easiest way to help with crime in any of these bad cities would be to enforce the laws and prosecute people. Like the problem in
okay.
Philadelphia,
Let's
the
actually
problem
do
in
their
Philadelphia is not that they cannot catch criminals. The problem in Philadelphia is that they have a DA who affirmatively is pro-crime,
that's true. Yeah.
who actively fires effective prosecutors, who
well aware.
releases people who
again,
are obviously
I'm well
guilty.
aware, but again, it's going to be something where it's another tool that is needed to be able to fight the crime. And possibly, by the way, there are, for example, one of the issues with Larry Kramer that you just brought up there. Or excuse me, Larry Krasner. Larry Kramer is a different guy. Larry Krasner. I think Larry Kramer is the guy. Name of the guy in the Bonfire of the Vanities, which I've always said they're kind of similar, and. That Krasner was just slapped down by the Pennsylvania State Supreme Court and said that all of his rulings, because they've been so just blatantly riddled with false, he's a Soros DA, and with like falsities and mistruths, that now all of his decisions need to be secondarily viewed by the Attorney General of Pennsylvania, who happens to be a Republican. And so there are ways in a state like that where you've got Republicans, say at the state level, that can actually overview these things and say like, okay, well, this is obviously a lie, and I know it's a lie because I can see the footage on the flock camera.
Yeah, I mean,
So it could be a check on the DA.
I am pro flock camera in concept.
You're pro.
So
General,
like,
even in
okay, well, hold on. Let me explain this a little bit. I'm pro in that if it were to achieve its objective, which, like, picture for a second, somebody robs a bank and then they immediately hit a freeway, they're running away. Like, flock cameras can find them instantaneously. Somebody commits a murder, they found the car, they know who it belongs to, they run the plates, they can find him, they know where he's going, they know what direction he was headed in. Somebody, whatever it is, like you can crack down on crime really, really fast. And it's actually not like, it's not easy for like law enforcement to crack down on stuff really fast. I mean, they have like 20 tips that immediately come in, and then they have to verify all 20 while simultaneously like taking evidence from the crime scene and also like running DNA and all these things. And so to like remove different situations and have it cut down, like that is good in concept. However, like powerful tools in the hands of bad and evil men, like throughout the years, even Charlie's stance like on the death penalty had changed from pro, anti. I remember asking him like, why at one point, why were you anti? And he was like, well, I'm pro in the fact that it's a good thing. I'm anti in the fact that evil men can use it for evil purposes. And so like flock cameras, think like January 6th, right? I'm anti because under the Biden administration, they were like finding these people. They could have found all of them. Like some of these people probably are like fine now because they waited the 4 years and then President Trump pardoned them, right? But they could have found all of them and very fast too. Also, in the future of flock cameras is they're not just going to run license plates. They're going to run facial recognition too. I mean, they're doing this in the streets of London.
But they did have surveillance at the Capitol, and they used famously used geofencing. So 100%. I mean, like,
but that's
like they didn't have flock cameras. Like they already had cameras there.
But then if flock cameras are all over the U.S., once they left D.C. and the government had to find them fast, what if they moved? What if they're at their parents' house? What if they are at a cabin? Wherever they were. Like truthfully, Jack, like I know somebody that was
but they did though. Like they fed people like Alaska and stuff.
I'm saying though, I know people that were at January 6th and were at the Capitol.
How was it January 6th?
They were not like in the Capitol and they were not found in the 4 years of the Biden administration. Okay. And now they're
does that mean they were not found, or does that mean they were not prosecuted?
I am pro flock camera in that I want it to do what its objective is. I'm anti in that it's going to collect all this data on people. It's going to be easier for them to find, people under an evil regime. And then also, like, I think during COVID, like when churches were shut down and like businesses were shut down, like there were some Turning Point employees that were showing up to work when they weren't allowed to. And like, who's to say that flock cameras or like the state of Arizona was going to track Charlie's car and be like, you were going to work?
That's the exact thing I was thinking of, is like,
you were hosting home church.
I'm imagining COVID, and they could say, we found all these cars are going to this specific spot. Like you could just unleash the AI and say, find us examples where all these cars are going in the same direction, even if there's no business there. And then they say, here is your home church.
Yep.
Or even, let's remember, for example, the Biden administration, they had their fascination with traditional Latin Mass as a vector for terrorism. Now imagine they go, well, let's find every car that drives to this place that's doing a Latin Mass within the window where the Latin Mass is offered. Bam.
But
now we know every single person who goes to this service.
And by the way, like, I don't disagree with anything you guys are saying, but I do also just... I don't think you can put the toothpaste back in the tube. The Chinese Communist Party, the NKVD, the Stasi, there have been regimes that did things like this far before technology. Evil isn't a form of technology.
But now it's really
but you're talking about like squeezing the toothpaste.
Before we continue on this debate, we should Kyrie sent us a donation and said,
just use informants.
I'd never heard of flock until the AMA. Please explain these things. Let's put up the map. We have 8. This is all the flock cameras in the U.S. Throw that up, number 8. So this is already how many of them we have.
I didn't even realize there's that many.
This is not a demo in a few cities. They're already basically everywhere. I will note, everywhere except the Dakotas. The Dakotas remain the land of freedom for us. And then
Montana.
Now let's go. Let's zoom in a bit. Let's do Maricopa County, number 9. And so this is the Phoenix area. You can see they're all along the major roads of Phoenix. And let's zoom even further. This is the vicinity of TPUSA, sort of in South Phoenix. So this is even just a few blocks. You can see we have a ton of flock cameras right outside that strip club that's by the interstate.
And the mall. And the mall.
You say and the mall, but no. The biggest cluster of them is the strip club. The biggest cluster is that strip club there.
Yeah. But Jack, actually, I agree with you. Like, I do like flock cameras. I want them in blue cities. I also want, like, under the Trump administration, we could use flock cameras to track down every single illegal, like, migrant, like every bad one, every single one, like however we wanted to do it, because we have certain data points that we can use. And like, that is super useful. It gets me scared though, when I think of like COVID and when I think of January 6th. Of course, like the toothpaste is coming out of the tube. Flock cameras, like, for lack of a better analogy, like it just squeezes it out faster.
We already have enough of...
By the way...
Sorry, go ahead, Jack.
No, I was going to say, though, like in beyond that, right, you already, like, go back to Shiloh Hendricks, right? She's on video because a guy was standing there and started filming her. So, I mean... this mass surveillance, even if the flock cameras were all gone, you're always going to be around someone who's got a cell phone next to you, right?
Yeah, totally.
It's just always going to happen. And this idea, Scott Adams used to talk about this, that like privacy is going to be one of those things that as more like like I was born with a certain level of privacy that Mikey was not born with, and soon to be a father, right? You know, congrats by the way.
Thank you. Any day now.
Very excited. What you guys? What do? Are you? Have you said the due date publicly? It's soon though, right?
Any day now. Any day now.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like it's like we're like you're in the like you might have to run in the middle of the show, which would be great.
Literally,
and
like
that's awesome. Celebrate our blessings. But point being is that your child is going to be born with even less privacy than you were. 100%. And it's so Scott Adams just point out that like it's just going to go away. But what I would say though is, and this is like sort of my general pushback, is that, you know, the idea of whether or not these tools are used for good or for evil isn't because of the tool, it's because of who's in charge of the government. Yeah, and this is where I think the libertarian argument fails, because you're always going to find someone who can be in charge of the government. You can't just like get away with it. So the only way to respond is to take over the government.
So true.
For sure. I totally agree. I would say it is kind of a defeatist mindset to say, oh, there's already too much toothpaste out of the bottle, so we're just gonna push all the rest of the toothpaste.
No, I'm saying flock cameras.
There's no defeatist. It's pragmatic.
Yeah, no, exactly. But that's to the point. Like you said, January 6th, we already have enough mass surveillance at this point that those people were being found wherever they went home to.
So let me ask you a question.
To me, it's like, why would we want to just continue that trend?
Okay, yeah. Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Life is all about pros and cons.
For sure.
Yeah, and then you oftentimes have to trade privacy for your security, right? If you're somebody that needs security guards because you get death threats all the time, 24/7, your privacy is gone. You have somebody in the car with you. When you go to the bathroom, they're standing outside. Like they're going to hear your fart noises, whatever it is. Like your privacy's gone. You're uncomfortable, but at least you're secure. So like my question to you is like, do the pros outweigh the cons in that everyday criminals are going to get caught much faster? Illegal migrants could be caught much faster. Bank robbers can be caught much faster. Murderers, on the small chance that the con is during COVID, during January 6th. And truthfully,
that's my problem.
I know, but I don't think I have the answer. And so my question is, what do the pros outweigh the cons?
My problem is I feel the risk of, as we'd say, anarcho-tyranny is higher because I feel we already know we're in that. Like, are we even bothering to prosecute the criminals we already catch with our current tech?
No.
And the answer in so many blue cities is no. We saw, for example, Irina Zarutska, stabbed to death by a guy, arrested repeatedly, never put behind bars. We've had multiple murders in Fairfax County where there was one that really bothered me earlier this year. I can't recall the name, but it was an individual from abroad. I think he was from Senegal. And he is repeatedly arrested for stabbing random people. And we have the email where the police send it to Steve Descano, the Commonwealth attorney for Fairfax, and say, can you please convict this guy and stop releasing him because he keeps randomly stabbing people. And of course, he was released anyway and randomly stabbed someone to death. Now that he's finally murdered someone, I guess he'll go to prison. But that's what we're facing, is we already have the ability to arrest more criminals than our progressive governing class is actually willing to put in prison long enough to keep us safe. And so that means adding all of these flock cameras, the chief purpose of them is not going to be to catch those criminals because they don't care. It's going to be to skin more tax cattle. Oh, let's find more people that we can fine. Let's find more people who will be those, as Tom Wolfe said, the great white defendants, you know, the people they really want to be proseking.
I agree.
So
that's what I feel.
Can I give... I'm gonna commit like a really, really big thought crime.
Well, you're not in Minnesota right now, Jack, right?
No, I'm not.
Okay, safe. Mark safe.
Mark safe.
We've talked about, and so Blake, we've talked, and obviously we've had Steve Saylor on the shows and talked about how the deaths of exuberance, particularly in cities with large black populations, have dramatically increased, not just in terms of murders, but also in terms of vehicular fatalities in 2020, right?
Yes, of course.
But have you noticed that, for example, in the city of Baltimore actually has seen a reduction in homicides?
Yeah, Baltimore is incredibly safe. Baltimore is ahead of the curve
because of their new program where basically what they're doing is they're bucking the trend, and they're saying, okay, we're just going to arrest the most violent offenders and keep them in jail. And they call it, I pulled it up, it's called focused deterrence, and an approach known as the Group Violence Reduction Strategy. It started in January 2022, and it's specifically focused on the high violence Western Police District and later expanded citywide. And by the way, we could go through and like talk about all the specifics of it, but it's just policing. It's literally just they've changed the mentality and said, we're just going to keep the people who are committing the crimes locked up.
And this is sadly the tragedy. This is the big cycle, because this is what, the 4th time we've been through that.
And it's working. It's actually
create
working.
a safe society and then go,
And then destroy
why
the
do we have
safe
all these
society?
punitive things? They're putting these people in jail for so long. We could be more effective if we focus on rehabilitation.
Do they
and
have flock in
community,
Baltimore?
blah, blah,
Can you
blah,
pull
blah,
that-
blah.
can you
Oh, the
pull that
crime
map
rate
back
has
up?
exploded.
What'd you say, Jack?
Baltimore. I'm talking about Baltimore. I don't know if they have flock.
But like,
on-
but well, I mean here.
I mean, that
I
map
think
looks like
so.
it was every flipping city in the U.S. had flock cameras.
I thought it
Yeah,
was.
I'm gonna
I mean,
say
it
yes.
seems like
I'm seeing some flocksters there.
so they have automated. Okay, so they have a different system, but it's similar to Flock. It's automated vehicle tracking technology.
Well, okay, so but to that point, like to your point
They have
exactly, Jack.
they have something called Clear.
Instead of Flock, instead of this mass surveillance, right? It's what you just said. The system is we need just policing. We just need policing.
But
And
they
it's
they do use a Flock system. It's called Clear. It's just a different.
So,
a
but then
competitor.
the other side to that also is that there are enough private companies that they have surveillance. Like, look at perfect example. Look at the Tyler Robinson case. We have footage from
Right.
UVU. We have footage from different places that are private entities that they have security. Turning Point has security. So we have there's enough. In my opinion, there's enough buildings, companies, in cities that have private surveillance that you can be able to find people when something goes on.
So are you against competition?
I just don't. I think the problem that what I think is that with
'Cause I think this is just like the
looking
next
at the heat
competitor,
map-
really.
Well, no, here's what I'm saying is like looking at the heat map, it's taking over the United States. We're getting more and more flock cameras in the United States. Now, and
Do
like
we, actually, do we know if that's a heat map of all Flock safety, or is that a heat map of like all like police cameras?
it is it's from dflockmaps.org.
Well, because like like I'm looking it up right now, and it is saying that Baltimore does not use Flock, and yet I'm looking at the map, and pretty sure it looks like Baltimore's there. Because I can see you could see DC, Baltimore, and Philly.
North
in, like,
Dakota
that
got
corridor
off.
line.
What's going on there?
So I think that's probably
state?
just a list of a map of all cameras. Actually,
Well, so deflock, they're saying ALPR, so I think it's the AI supported cameras, and there might be several companies that do that.
that's what
Oregon
I'm
needs
saying.
some
That's
more
what I think.
cameras. That state's a little too blue to not have more cameras. You know what I'm saying?
No, but that's a population map, though. That's just a map of all
That's all
the
like
high density
you can see
population
it.
centers.
Portland's got them. It's just everywhere else is empty.
I just think we need to up policing, and everybody needs to conceal carry, and we'll be okay.
One last point before we move on. I do think it's funny, since we brought up Baltimore, that in that annoying show, The Wire, that everyone had to say was the best show ever made for about a 5-year period, there's a subplot where they
Wire
like
is great.
improve
What
the city.
Are you crapping on The Wire right now?
Yes, I am. I'm crapping on The Wire. There's a subplot where they improve the city
Phenomenal.
with Amsterdam, where they just legalize drugs in a certain area and
Yeah.
it lowers crime dramatically. And I'm getting a kick that that's what happened in that dumb lib show. And then in real life, Baltimore is leading the way by lowering crime by just grabbing all the criminals.
No,
and throwing them in
Amsterdam's a
prison.
huge. It's a huge. What are you talking about? It was a huge disaster in the show.
Well, it's a huge disaster because everyone's like hooked on drugs and stuff. But I believe the actual lowering, they portray it as lowering crime when they legalize drugs in Amsterdam.
I mean,
they?
they claim that it did, yeah. And then in I think that was season 3, and then in season 4, they do have like a low crime area, but it was pretty bad. And one of the And if you want to get into real thought crime, it's because the people of Baltimore are actually a little bit different from the people of Amsterdam, as it turns out. And that's why the drug policy there does not work the same way it does in Amsterdam.
All right. Well, I can't be a full expert on that because I'm only going secondhand because I never watched The Wire because I don't watch TV because it corrodes your brain.
Never even
That's how it is. That's how it is.
I hate that show so
You
much.
watch TV.
I don't watch TV.
You never saw it.
I watched like one show. I watched like one season of TV a
Hey,
year.
I watched The Odyssey. All right, I sat through all 3 freaking hours of that,
Same.
which I did not do at 3 hours. But
You sat through all 3 hours? You didn't even
and-
multiply it at like 2 times speed?
No, I did not. I watched it at I kind of alternated between I went 3x during the action scenes, and then I went down to like
At the tranny
2.5
scene.
to 2.7 during the speaking scenes.
Oh shoot.
It was boring.
Man,
It was really
yeah,
boring.
that's the big thing about it is for a movie that's about
And
a
it was
dude
basically
traveling
just a
for 10
rip-off
years
of
and
The
going to
Hurt
all these
Locker.
like cool
I
islands.
liked it.
You liked it?
I'm not, but
You're pro
I don't.
Odyssey?
We could talk about.
You think
this.
The Odyssey was the greatest movie
I
you've ever
like.
seen?
No, I never said that.
That you
did
did.
those
You-
words leave my mouth?
Yeah, you
I
literally
think I
just
heard
said
Have
that.
you ever seen
I
it?
think
But
I
have you
heard
ever
that.
seen
You
the
literally
original
just said that.
version?
I won't be
I
gaslit on
liked
this.
it, and it was entertaining. Is it my favorite
I didn't
movie
find it
of all time?
entertaining at all. I found it so boring.
I'm going to see.
Let it be known
The
that
last
Mikey
30
McCoy,
minutes
Mikey
were
McCoy
fantastic.
just said, I do think the last 30 minutes were the best part of the movie.
Fantastic.
Sure.
Specifically because a rude house guest had a very funny thing happen to him when he realizes Odysseus is there. I won't say more. It's a very funny thing that happens.
The book's been out for ever. Like, what are you,
The book's
what are you
been
trying
out
to
for. You've
spoil
had
here?
thousands of years to read this.
Actually, I did read this twice, and I didn't like really remember.
You didn't
it.
like reading the Odyssey?
I didn't remember a lot of it until I was in the
depends on what
movie, and it was
translation
like
you read. You
coming
probably
back
read the
to
Emily
me.
Wilson.
And then I was like, wait, the lotus flower. There's supposed to be way more about that. Like, they're missing this. Yeah.
I mean, I read the Odyssey in high school a couple of times, and I still don't remember it. But again, it's some of those books that when you read in high school, you're like, I understand. I remember like parts of this, but I don't understand it.
Overall, I'm like glad I saw the Odyssey. I'm glad they made the movie.
Yeah,
and
same.
like what's weird is we had all the hype that it was going to be a lib movie, and instead
It
like
wasn't
all the
that
reasons it was
woke.
like bad were just that Christopher Nolan I think sort of messed up what he decided to focus on, and not for a lib reason, just for Christopher
Just
Nolan
poor
reasons.
storytelling.
Yeah, like I think like
Yeah.
there's just like some not good writing in it, and the
Yeah,
problem
I agree.
he could have even made the
I mean,
movie.
hey, that's a win,
He could
I
have
feel
even
like.
made that movie that he wanted to make, where he subverts what the Odyssey is about and makes it more negative, makes it more we're destroying civilization and that's bad.
Yeah.
He could have done that if he had written it better, but instead we straight up have scenes. There is a scene in the Odyssey, if you haven't seen it, where Odysseus goes to his wife and says, "Yeah, we're sailing off to Troy," and Agamemnon says it's
The
to get Helen
Bronze
back,
Age
but we're actually
is
doing it.
collapsing.
He's actually doing it for socioeconomic reasons. He wants to seize the trade routes. Bro, is this like my AP World History?
The
textbook?
Bronze Age
It sounds
is
like what a lecturer
collapsing.
would say. Even if you wanted to say he's doing it for that, you should say it like Agamemnon. He wants to capture where every ship that bears spices goes by Troy, and he wants to have all of the wealth from that. Like you can say it in a more cool Bronze Age way,
Yeah.
instead of he's doing it
Just
for
modern English.
Modern English. It says he cares about the
it's-
trade routes and socioeconomic factors.
It's so like Wikipedia when he's speaking like that. Like there isn't even anything in the Odyssey that says anything about that at all. It's
does-
like
no,
not
there's nothing.
even.
Wait, actually, I had a question for you
Yes,
on the
yeah?
Odyssey. I cannot remember in the book. Is that scene where he's throwing the puppies off the cliff? Is that in the book? Because I do not remember that. And why did Christopher Nolan decide to add a scene of a guy throwing puppies off a cliff and then make such a big portion of the movie about like Zeus's law? You must take care of the beggar when they come into your home.
That scene went
You
hard.
have to take care of
That
people.
scene went hard. It's very
And then
truly.
it's just like throwing. What about the puppies?
Very
Like, just
truly,
throwing the puppies
while
off
watching
the-
that, I did a double take and thought, did I see? Was he just throwing those puppies off the cliff? And
I was like, what?
it took until everyone else mentioned it to realize that was happening. So yes, if you guys haven't seen the Odyssey,
I'm
you can
gonna
see.
watch it,
that is- I just looked it
you
up.
can
That
see.
is
Was
not
that
in
was
the
that the guy
Odyssey.
played by?
Yeah, okay, I was like, why
It's
did
not.
Christopher Nolan?
That scene went hard. That was one of the most Robert Eggers scenes he could do. Just they would totally do that in ancient times. Just
Chuck puppies.
dude, they chucked babies off cliffs if they didn't
Truly,
want
yeah,
them.
That's true.
That
Well,
would
that
be
was more Sparta than Ithaca.
no. That's like all of Greek civilization would do that. That's a story of.
But it's more
No,
famous.
they
than
did
Sparta.
it. It was in the
Sparta.
movie. It was in Odyssey. They threw a baby off a cliff. It's in the movie. Remember Agamemnon?
Oh yeah, did they have Astyanax in that?
He threw, and
Well,
that's
no,
why
but
his
that's-
wife was so pissed.
I thought he stabbed her.
No, that's Iphigenia. That's Iphigenia.
No, Agamemnon-
You're mixing up two things. Or did they throw Iphigenia off? in this
remember
one?
he like walked to the ocean on the cliff edge.
The
with his-
ocean.
yeah, he was.
Yeah, it was the ocean. That's right.
Yeah.
I thought he. Oh,
in
whatever.
the- it's in
but
the
that's a specific sacrifice they did. But also just in ancient times, they would do that exposure stuff. It was not. It was a bleak
Wow.
time. We
Yeah,
needed
and that's right, though.
Christianity
That
to
was- and
invent
that- but that-
not
you're right.
killing
that
your
wasn't
own
because
children.
she was that was like for victory in battle. That wasn't because
no,
she was a
that's true.
runt.
That was victory.
All right. So
It was because.
I'm glad we did that. Someone wanted us to give our thoughts about the Odyssey, so I'm glad we did. I really want to hit this.
Wait, can I just one other line about Odyssey just to get it off, that I think that the whole thing was just a rip off of the Hurt Locker. And I think no, think about it.
Whoa.
Shame.
No,
And
no.
I think-
Revoke that. I think he's got a point there.
Okay.
It's been a while since I saw The Hurt Locker.
I need to watch The Hurt Locker.
I think I
again.
saw it when it was literally in theaters, but I think that kind of was. I remember that scene where the Hurt Locker guy goes he comes home from the war and he goes, our age of American empire is collapsing.
Isn't that like
It's literally like, if you go watch that movie, the tone and the pacing and the way that it's just like Matt Damon. No, that's not Matt Damon. Matt Damon was in Green Zone, which came out around the same time, so I kind of in my head think of them as very similar. But it was like it's like he's brooding, and he's like obviously dealing with PTSD, and it's like just another Vietnam movie, Iraq movie. But now it's like the boomers just making another Vietnam movie. Like, that's really all it was.
Was there a giant cyclops in that one? I can't remember.
Yes.
Yes.
I do. Yeah, there was
Hurt
one.
Locker?
Yes,
Yeah.
it was. He was named Saddam Hussein.
Yeah.
Oh, there
It was actually Uday. Uday was a Cyclops.
And
He
he's
was the
racked
son
with guilt
of
because
Saddam.
that's
no,
how they
no. The Cyclops was the son of Saddam Hussein.
And they wheeled
Right,
a giant goat up to the border of Iraq,
And he
so
makes
that
milk.
they would-
Oh, wait.
But
That's
they
my
do something
question.
different
How
with the goat.
hell did
They
the
do something
Cyclops
different
make
with
the
the
milk?
goat.
How did he make the milk?
They
the
do something
cheese?
a little bit different
Why
with
do
the
you make the
goat
cheese?
over there. I'm
Yeah,
just
yeah.
saying. I'm just
Cheese.
saying.
No, how did he? His hands were so big. How did he milk the sheep to make cheese? Think about it. Think about the movie. Okay, listen. Okay, Odysseus walks into
is
this
gonna
cave
mess
and he's
me up.
like,
We've got off the
This is
rails,
gonna mess me up.
folks.
and he's like,
gonna mess me up.
Oh, cheese, delicious. Okay, the bag of cheese is this big.
You
Okay,
just
the
squeeze
sheep
them.
udder
You
is
just squeeze
this
the
big.
sheep. You just squeeze the whole. You just take
No,
the whole
but
sheep
the
and squeeze
hand
it.
of the
You just
Cyclops
squeeze the
was the
sheep.
size of this studio. How did he get
Because
the,
he's
the
squeezing
milk?
the whole sheep. He just picks it up and just
Jack,
squeezes
no,
get the milk
no.
out.
He squeezes it like a dish rag. He wrings it out
Oh,
of him.
no,
like a
that's
dish rag.
something
Yeah, you kinda
up-
like- you kinda
something's
just
up with
ring it up
this.
there.
I don't like the whole cheese sequence. Rubbed me the wrong way.
This is gonna really.
No, the Cyclops was probably the best part of the film.
I'm gonna keep thinking about this.
Yeah, you think right? I left the theater
Everything
with a
after
few
the
questions on my
Cyclops,
mind.
everything was downhill from the Cyclops. And Anne Hathaway was terrible.
Well, no,
Anne
everything
Hathaway
was
absolutely terrible.
Oh, I've heard Anne
She was
Hathaway
good.
terrible.
No, she was great.
Hathaway was fine. Again, they gave her
No,
bad
no.
lines, so at one point
My
she has to cry and be like,
experience.
Why wasn't I hired to be queen of Ithaca when I had the
You
best
got those
resume?
little hairs
I
on
have
your chinny
a
chin
master's
chin.
degree from
That was
Argos
crazy.
University.
I actually love the fact that I have not seen this movie.
master's degree.
Guys, I left the theater. I legitimately left the theater because I saw it at like midnight and I got out at 3 a.m. And then I walk out at 3 a.m. and I'm like, why did they throw the puppies? I don't remember that. How did he get the cheese out of the goats? Like, and then, anyways, I'm
were
seeing
I like this.
You
You're
were so
deconstructing
tired
it.
that those were the only things that you were thinking about.
You gotta make things
After.
real. Okay, whatever.
Fair enough.
All right. Glad we got that. We need to talk about watches now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, so this
I don't wear
is
watches.
this is a fun topic. So this is Kevin O'Leary, famous rich person of America, co-host of Shark Tank, correct?
Shark
Yes,
Tank,
yeah.
yep.
So, and he's he has a viral clip where he's on he's
Talking about
doing
a
an interview,
watch,
and he's talking about a
Rolex.
watch and how excited he was to obtain not merely a Rolex, but I guess there's like some Rolex that's like the Triforce of watches or something. Let's do clip 11.
It is the grail piece of all watches. It is the white gold, ruby and diamond Daytona. Grown men weep just looking at pictures of this mystical beast. Does it exist? And I got on my knees and begged for it, begged. I said, could you consider just after all our relationship time together, and I've been a great steward for the brand. I've never sold a Rolex. I've talked about the importance of the brand. Isn't this the moment to consider if the mystical beast exists, that I would have it on my wrist? And then back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. The morning here in LA before the Oscars, the phone rings. They gave me an address and they said, be there. And there it was. We opened the box. The entire Rolex staff had never seen it. All the dealers from around LA came to see it. And for an hour, we looked at it. We didn't touch it. We just looked at it and said, like,
it's real.
It's real.
Did you cry?
I did. And I wore it.
Seriously.
I was weeping. It was mine. I own it. I have that piece. Do you know how many people have that piece? Maybe nobody. Like, it's not known. That watch, maybe it would trade, if it traded, for $1.8 million. Walking around with 35 mil.
I don't.
This is why we're having a socialist revolution right now.
That's why I wanted to talk about it. Is like this has gone viral on X, and the take has basically been: are we going to have socialism? Is Mamdani going to win because our rich Americans cannot help themselves from going on podcasts and talking about their extremely surreal love for a $1.8 million object to place upon their wrist, and how they craved it, how they connived for it, how they begged for it, how they sobbed upon seeing it.
Like,
and I just think a lot of people are going to look at that and say, you know what?
Not...
Wealth tax. They're going to look at it and say, wealth tax time. Yeah. We're taking your stuff.
Yeah.
And I kind of wonder if they're going to be right.
It's very, that's very, giant diamond chain-esque.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Very low. It feels low IQ.
It kind of does.
It does, right?
I feel like we are getting. I have nothing against.
It's
Kevin
like you
O'Leary,
get so
like,
rich that all of a sudden you start almost like acting poor. Like you start like you go so far one side that you almost like. Well, so come back around.
It's not like that. What I think it does show is I think we've had a shift of behavioral values with our rich people, and I think it actually reflects. I think it reflects. Hear me out. This is my thought crime. Demographic change in America. That America used to have a ruling elite that was WASPs. It was like Northern Europeans, and that came with it certain cultural behaviors, and there was a lot of restraint. There was a lot of being private. It came with this whole noblesse oblige, like you don't really flaunt wealth in people's faces. You don't get too garish about things. And in most of the world, that's not the norm. In large chunks of the world, wealth is something that if you possess it, you like oafishly display it. You garishly display it. You get a gold-plated car and a gold-plated AK-47 and a gold-plated watch, and why not? And you really rub it in your face. And like that's the norm. You go to Saudi Arabia, and it's not going to be a mystery who's rich. Whereas in America, we have the cultural value of like, oh yeah, the billionaire who dresses like a farmer and drives around in a station wagon.
But even with,
but would you say that's also kind of British in a way? I was in London, so I'm kind of thinking that like you don't always. And I'm not talking about like the palaces. I just mean like there's a sort of like. When you said about the WASP culture of sort of not flaunting things, that
it's
they
like
are
a Protestant thing, really. I would say like Northern Europe probably matches Protestant countries.
Reserved.
Yeah. Like
it's
British.
Like there was a whole thing when we were at CPAC UK. There was a whole thing that like many of us American speakers that came up. They said, "Wow, I had some like BBC." Interview, and they're like, do you think that you're mixing God and politics too much? And I was like, mixing God and politics? Like, what do you mean? Like, that's just how we always talk in the U.S. And she's like, well, we don't do that in Britain. We never do that. that's considered like a personal belief that you just don't talk about publicly. And there were a number of other people who said that to me. And I said, and it kind of goes along with the lines of what you're saying, that wealth, religious beliefs, like it's just like, it's a general idea that being reserved is considered more polite and more well-mannered as opposed to, all of this.
Yeah.
What's the most that you think is reasonable to spend on a watch?
I don't think it matters.
Yeah.
I'm not a watch guy.
Oh, you're
I'm
pro.
so not
You're
a watch
pro.
guy.
Rolex.
Here's my take.
Have you ever sobbed over a watch, Mikey?
We simultaneously tell people you can make it in America and you can start a business and be successful and enjoy these luxuries.
Sure.
And then we're also saying you are now the reason socialism is coming, because you are buying expensive things and living luxurious because you have achieved so much and done such a great job in the world of business. And on top of that, like, context is important. Like Kevin O'Leary, it's no different than somebody that's like super into cars or super into like shoes or whatever it is. Like, there are different luxury items that people obsess over, and there's so much about it. Like, watches are actually very cool. Like the way they work, the way that like they're built and all these things, right? And so for Kevin O'Leary, like, he actually wears 2 watches because his businesses are in Asia. So he has one watch that's set to it's like Singapore, and then one that's set to like New York. And he loves watches. Like, his entire life is about watches. For the most part, he doesn't live a luxurious life. Like, he lives in a condo in a high rise, and like that's kind of his life. He drives nice cars. He wears nice suits. He's on Shark Tank. But not just that, he also invests in people that have visions.
True.
Like, he is a guy that there's young entrepreneurs, and he's like, I want you to make it. I will invest. And like, why exactly are we supposed to punish him? Like, I get it. The rich are like getting richer, and they're like rubbing it in the face of people that like can't make the means to like pay for rent or groceries, for that matter. But I just don't think blaming it on Kevin O'Leary for the reason we have a climb in socialism is necessary and or good.
And so that's the flip side. I think
But
it is interesting you point out.
But that doesn't make it not true. And and the truth of the matter is, we do have a K-shaped economy, and we've had one since 2008. And what is K-shaped economy? That means the rich are getting richer and the poor are getting poorer. And so it's like there's this, they call it the I think we talked about here, the silent recession, where if you're under a certain pay level, that or income level, that you're just living in recession era economics, finances, and then you've got a guy like Kevin O'Leary talking about buying a $2 million watch, and you wonder why Mondami's popular. You wonder why DSA is like beating the crap out of Democrats all over the country, and by the way, beating us in general elections. It's because of crap like this.
But what's the solution? Like, what? So then we need to.
What's the
shame
solution?
them?
The solution is MAGA.
capitalists.
The solution is nationalist populism.
No.
Actually do it.
What is the solution to getting Kevin O'Leary not to do that? Take it away from him, to shame him, make sure that you can't post it on social media.
Absolutely.
But
he should absolutely
we are
be shamed.
capitalists.
100%.
Like, we are fundamentally pro
I'm not a
somebody
capitalist.
spending their wealth how they want to spend their wealth.
I don't think we should center our country around capital. I think that's not Christian.
I think it is in the same vein as I hate listening to Hollywood actors talk about politics, because you're not, like, it's your own personal thing. Quit telling me how to vote. Or like the dude who plays Hulk, trying to be a social justice warrior. I think it's just one of those things. Like, Kevin O'Leary can absolutely love watches, and I would love.
The
like,
Reacher,
I have no
the guy,
problem. Him
wasn't the
talking
guy who
about
plays
watch,
Reacher?
but,
Didn't he just pop off? Russ?
Yeah, that same guy, the Alan Richardson, talking about the Epstein files and all of this, all of this stuff.
So
I think it's that where it's like, perfect example, like Kevin O'Leary talking about how much he loves a watch and how much he wants a specific watch. Dude, awesome. Cut there. Like, don't go on. Don't like.
But dude,
hey,
he's
it's
theatrical
$12
by
million.
nature. He's theatrical by
that's
nature.
where-
He's a Hollywood guy. He's on
Yes,
TV all the
but
time.
it's like-
you
but
don't
that's
think
the
that he's
problem.
like being funny when he's like, grown men.
No.
weep
That's fine.
to see this
I don't have a
watch.
problem with that. I have a problem with him then going, if it goes on the market, it'd be like $12 million. Like I think that's where you draw the line. It's like people can have hobbies. People can love expensive cars. If you want to go out of your way to figure out how expensive a car is that somebody owns,
I don't even know the question she asked him. Do you know the question she
here's-
asked him on the
here's-
podcast?
Angelo,
Like, what if she asked him, "What's the most expensive watch you
Can
ever
I go
bought?"
back to what Blake was saying about noblesse oblige? Is that the idea was that you give back. That if you have so much that you could perhaps give back to your country, and so
I totally agree.
It's Donald Trump building the Wallman ice rink or fixing the Wallman ice rink in New York City, right? He's got a bunch of money, but you got to do something for the little guy too. And with Kevin O'Leary, I don't see anything like that. I don't see Kevin O'Leary turn around and like, hey, we're going to fix up the zoo or we're going to do something around to benefit regular people. I see him just saying, hey, how can I spend more money when I have an opportunity to spend more money? And meanwhile, like everything's closing, everything's getting run down, certainly in New York, certainly in California. And, he's not doing anything to give back. And so that's a huge part of the problem. And yes, if you look at the history of socialist and communist revolutions, it is behavior like this by the elites during a time when you have, we currently call it a K-shaped economy.
Kevin O'Leary does give money.
Actually, I want to respond to that. Specifically about that. One thing I think that the billionaires suffer from is that the norm is now like you want to give back. So you give to some charitable foundation, like a charitable foundation that's like relatively less legible.
Yes. Yeah.
We need to bring back billionaires who give back with oafish big public things.
Yes.
So Elon Musk comes out and says like, I want to give back. So I'm just going to build the new stadium like for this a city, and then it'll be owned by the city, and I'm just going to pay for it, and it'll be nice and pretty.
Wrigley Field was built by the Wrigley family.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Oh, you build stadiums, you build monuments, you build you say, I'm going to build a new skyscraper for my company, and it's going to be awesome Art Deco looking with all the sculpture that we can't have anymore, and I'm going to spend on that. And it's just going to be a big part of the public, and we're going to rent it out to the public, and it's going to be part of your skyline, and it's going to look awesome. We need our billionaires to be building awesome stuff that you can look at.
Is Trump not doing that though with like the ballroom?
He's
trying to have private donors.
No, he is.
And then like the Arc de Triomphe.
Yeah.
He's like, so I actually like Trump's doing that. Like that is a great thing.
So Zuzu Pedals has a great point. She just donated.
Awesome.
It's not the watch. It's the obscene reaction to the watch. People will watch red carpets where people are covered in millions of dollars in jewels and contour. It's his reaction. I agree.
The theatrical reaction is
Here's the thing, and that's where the first part of that video.
A lot of those red
is
carpet
fine.
dresses, though, are not. A lot of those are not.
They're rented.
Owned by them. A lot of it's either rented or like the designer, sets it up as like advertisement for the designer. Yeah. There's like all sorts of stuff like that.
People can have hobbies.
For the record,
people can have hobbies. People can have interests. I have no problem with Kevin O'Leary having an interest in watches, but it's like.
I think it's cringe.
So
I think it's super cringe.
Well, okay,
I think watches
Jack,
are like
but Jack, you don't like watches.
Are Pokemon
That's
cards.
The thing.
Watches are Pokemon cards for adults.
Okay,
but
here's somebody who's not
Jack, there's a fatal flaw with
love that.
Jack, the fatal flaw with that is Pokemon cards are now Pokemon cards for adults.
Yeah,
guys. We have insane
that is
38-year-old millennials who are like looting their stores of the Pokemon cards.
I just remembered a story.
I'm well aware. Yeah.
All right, Mikey's story.
On Charlie's birthday a couple of years ago, we took him to go get a watch, and he does not like watches. And the guy was like, amazing, love Charlie, and I think he wanted to give Charlie like this amazing deal, like almost like basically like free, like it was a steal.
But he like just didn't want it.
And it was like a very nice Patek Philippe, like very nice watch. And Charlie was like, we sit down in the room, and he like puts on this white glove, and he like opens the box, and he pulls out the watch, and he's like, here. Oh, wow. Charlie like grabs it with his greasy fingers, and he's like messing around with it, and he's like, so what about this makes this expensive? Like why, how much does this go for? Why does it go for that much? Why would I want this?
Oh my God.
Like this is such a small thing. And then the guy's like explaining how it's gone up in value. It started at, it used to be this amount. Now it's, 50x'd. And Charlie's like,
because of collectors.
If I buy this, I will buy it and I will put it in my safe and I will never wear it. And this will just be an investment. And the guy's like, no, it must be worn. And I was like, well, Charlie, like maybe you could wear this to like big events. And he's like, nah. And we walked out. Even a free watch he didn't even want. So Charlie would most likely, if he was here, he'd probably agree with you.
Well, so another thought I had.
I've just never been a watch guy. The only watch I will tell you though, I don't wear it anymore. But the only no watch. The only watch that I ever wore for a long time was my boot camp watch, and that was a watch that I had this position in my boot camp unit where I was the only guy who got to wear a watch, and it was among like it was like one of the leadership member of the unit kind of things, and it just meant a lot to me that that was the watch that I went through boot camp with like all my boot camp buddies. And I just wore that watch for a really long time, and then I kind of stopped wearing it because it was like really like rudimentary, and it didn't really look good with like suits and stuff. It just felt odd. And recently my son had been asking about wearing a watch, so I gave it to him.
Nice. My fiance wants me to buy a watch because she's really tired of this garment.
A final thought on this.
We
mentioned
she's like, you need to buy something better.
Just go get a fossil.
We mentioned there's the K-shaped economy, diverging, rich get richer, poor get poorer. Although, what this actually stood out to me is the fact that Kevin O'Leary is so obsessed with the watches, and this is a way to express his collecting impulse. It's something for him to blow money on, frankly.
Yeah.
I think in a lot of ways, even if wealth amounts are diverging, I think lifestyles are converging a lot.
Yeah.
And one thought I've had is it feels like, this is a white pill to me, is I've interacted with people who are far richer than I am. And as far as I can tell, their interests and how they prefer to spend most of their day when they're not working are pretty comparable to mine. Or it's even stuff I could be doing and choose not to because I don't like it. Like, as an example, I've been stunned by the number of very wealthy people I know who watch a lot of television. And like bad television in some cases, or just whatever's trendy. And then the amount what's their favorite thing to do? Oh, they sit in group chats on their phone and they like talk to other people they know. And like, okay, you can also be in a group chat with your friends. And
do you guys watch TV?
Yes,
I watch very little TV.
Yeah, I do.
You guys are all TV nuts. None of you.
I stay up to the time.
All of you are sinners.
I'll watch, like, Tanya and I will sometimes like sit down and watch a series. And it'll be like maybe like we watch one episode a night before bed or something. But like that will generally, other than like work, that will generally be the only time I ever sit down and like watch TV.
Amanda,
but also
TV.
Jack, I do watch
college.
TV. And I do the same, but I think that might change when the baby comes. I don't think I'll be watching.
You might watch more. My brother-in-law.
You might watch more because you're with babies because you're going to be up late at night.
Yeah,
you're going to need something.
My
to do.
brother-in-law watched
other than watch
every single
Thoughtcrime and Human Events
episode.
Daily.
Anybody in the comments watching House of the Dragon?
I have not. I haven't caught up. My brother-in-law watched every single episode of One Piece.
That show looks awful. I haven't watched
a
single
single
episode.
There are 1,000 episodes of One Piece.
I don't even know what One Piece is.
One Piece.
It's an anime that has been running for about 10,000 years.
I think Allie Beth Stuckey's right that anime causes like weird brain stuff. No science to back that claim.
I don't have a problem. I thought that was Matt Walsh who said that.
Maybe it's both. Maybe it's both.
I don't have a problem with anime in general, but the reason that I don't really watch it is just because of that. Like, how do you start? There's like 1 million episodes of every season or every show rather, and you're like, and I'm like, oh yeah, well this is like episode 5,000, and he's referring to something that happened in episode 2.
Attack of Titan. Isn't that one to start?
Yeah, that's what
everybody always tells me.
Like,
it's it is a bit the opposite, Jack. Actually, the thing is not most animes are not that many episodes compared to U.S. shows where. Like, we love to have 28 episode seasons and they run for a decade. The bigger thing is just there's a million of them.
A ton.
And so, like, oh, have you seen Pizza Dynasty? And it'll be this 28 episode anime about like a family trying to run a pizzeria in Tokyo. And then they're like, oh, no, you need to go see Rice Adventure. And it's something. It's a slice of life show that's about these girls. And actually, wait, no, there actually is a real anime that's about girls in boarding
isn't
school.
Slice of Life the one that's supposed to be like right wing?
There's a real anime that's about girls in boarding school where they're learning how to drive World War II tanks, and you're not considered an eligible bride unless you're a good tank commander. It's called Girls und Panzer, which is just girls and tank. Anyway, I'm sure Dylan in the chat is losing his mind over this right now.
I need to see Dylan.
All right.
I thought, oh yeah, Dylan is always trying to get, is he in the chat? I wasn't looking. He's always trying to get me to watch stuff.
Yeah, he's saying, watch anime, Mikey.
Okay, Dylan.
He says, there are so many epic,
I will say,
they have
though,
so many.
I watched Death Note. I thought Death Note was great.
I have seen Death Note. I watched Death Note when I was in high school. It was okay.
Okay, I stand corrected by Dylan as well. It was, in fact, Matt Walsh that said.
Alrighty.
Right?
I thought it was Walsh.
Yeah. Okay.
But no, I thought Death Note was. I mean, I think it's just a version of like animation style. Like I've seen some anime movies that I like a lot.
True.
And I think that's enough for me. What was the one? Your Name was pretty good. Who was the guy who made that? And he made a bunch of movies recently that I thought were pretty good. Yeah, Your Name
it's just
was really
a style.
good.
I think the real thing is it is a thing that people will make their entire lifestyle is being an anime fan and
Makoto
watching lots of
Shinkai.
anime. And like with anything, I think that can wreck your personality to have it be consumed by one thing. And there's just a lot of them that
Like
have that.
a watch.
Zuzu's Petals. OMG, you are having a baby. That is, of course, to Mikey. It is not to me. That is so exciting. Congratulations. Prayers for healthy delivery. Thank you, Zuzu. I want to get our one last topic because I do think it is very fun. And it is related to
Can I read
others.
a comment that just came in on X? This is from the Wuhan clan. And he wrote, I'm only pro flock to the extent that the sole customer is ICE using it to get illegals the flock out of here.
Agreed.
That's funny.
We want to hit this because it does relate to whether others, specifically me, will have any babies, which is the car test. All right. Have you guys heard about this?
No, you're gonna have to explain this.
We're gonna have to summarize this. So let's throw up number 14 and let me bring it up here so that I can read it. 1 second. So this is a tweet someone made, and it is this woman, Blaine Anderson, has an account Dating by Blaine, and she posts an exchange between a woman and a guy she was potentially going to go on a debate on. And I'm going to read the exchange first.
A date.
She was going to go on a date with this guy. And it says, good morning, what time, where is dinner tomorrow? And he goes, have you been to Le Mercerie? And she goes, I have not. It looks gorgeous. And then she says, could you send me an Uber for dinner tomorrow? And the guy responds, no, I won't. On the way home, though, happy to pick a restaurant next to you. That's what he says. This exchange was then sent to this Blaine woman, and she says, single girlfriend in New York City had this text exchange with a Hinge match. She is upset. In my opinion, she is entitled to whatever expectations of men she wants, but asking a stranger from the internet to send a car is cringy, and she has no business being upset if he won't. The guy's response is simultaneously fair, abrasive, and weird. Just say, how about I come to you? If you still want the date, or if you don't, just say, I don't think this is a fit. Hard not to stay stuck single if you interact like this.
True.
And then as a follow-up, someone who may be joking or maybe not, I couldn't really tell, Mads Campbell tweeted, every good man I've ever been on a date with has sent a car, usually black car.
Oh my gosh.
It's very weird to not send a car. And when you're dating, you should be on your boyfriend or husband's Uber account if you still use Ubers. Dude. I don't see why this is controversial.
I just love Mikey's size.
This is
But
so
this is
dumb.
cringy, and this is dumb.
It's also like they get upset if a guy pays for dinner,
you know,
because it's like a feminist thing to get upset.
So that,
and then they
these
want you
women,
to
I think these women, I don't think will get.
Wait, but it's a
performatively
feminist
upset.
thing. It's a
They
feminist
feel-
thing if you pay for dinner, but it's also a feminist thing if you don't pay for the Uber. Like, how does that work?
Yeah, facts.
It's intriguing. I'm kind of wondering how Charlie will react to this because Charlie was very much man pays for the dinner 100%,
that
even
is
on
a
the first
good,
date.
He would probably. I mean, I don't want to put words, but I mean, I guess like you pick him up. pick them up on the date.
Okay,
But
like
we're
that.
in New York. We're in New
but-
York here, where we're imagining you don't have. It's very likely neither of you have a car. Even if you're well off, you don't have a car in New York.
Like
usually.
meet them and walk 'em.
So-
like
so,
walk 'em.
okay.
New York's
I agree
dangerous.
with
The
that.
streets
think-
cannot be safe for a woman alone.
I think we should clarify. So that this was New York City, right?
Right.
So in New York City, then chances are, if she's saying like blah 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 Uber, then chances are she probably doesn't have her own car, right? So the geography, I think, changes the dynamics a little bit here as well.
Yeah.
Where I wouldn't want a girl, taking the subway in any city in the United States or even London. I rode the tube a couple times. It was awful. It was, other than the speed, which was good, the actual experience of being on there was horrible, and I did not want my children to be on there for any second longer than we had to. But that being said, and the traffic was just worse, so it would have taken us like way much longer to get anywhere. We actually ended up taking some river taxis, which worked out pretty well. So if you're in New York City, I feel like it's not unreasonable for her to ask for an Uber. I really don't.
I really like Angelo, who grew up in the New York area, and he said in the 90s, I paid for the cabs both ways because of safety. Otherwise, it's like, what? Take the train? Yeah, that'll get the bird interested.
No, but
that.
are you
Yeah,
paying for
I
the
get it,
taxi?
Dad.
Like if she gets in the taxi and then gets out, you're paying for it when she gets there?
Yeah,
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
I think
No, I
that's,
get this.
I
You guys
can
make a
understand
good
that.
point.
I can
You guys
understand
do
that.
make, Jack, you make a good point
Here's-
about like New York.
Here's the only thing.
Yeah.
Is being here in Arizona, obviously it's very different than New York, but I would run into weird things where I was always the person that like would offer, hey, I could pick you up. Right? But I also understood, again, having,
you want to pick
very
him up
little
'cause you want to
interactions.
get him in the car.
Hold on, but having very little interactions, obviously they could be like, not really a fan. But at the same time, I would always offer, like that was always a thing. Like you always
good.
offer.
Russ,
Chivalrous.
girls didn't want you to pick him up.
I
Because,
hate.
I mean, especially if you're dating on the internet, like I get it, like I understand it, but you have to offer.
I hated that she was like, she wants a black car. That one girl wants a black
Yeah.
car. I just thought that was actually.
Yeah, Zuzu said, I spent my 20s dating in New York, and the gentleman did pay for your cab home after 10 p.m., but a black car service is ridiculous.
Okay. You guys, you've changed my mind.
That's fair.
Only in New York.
Well, here's.
Yeah,
oh wait,
that's the biggest thing.
Actually, Mikey, I'll meet you halfway. I'll meet you halfway on that, because when I saw this on the topic list, this wasn't my first thought. My first thought was, it depends on the girl. Are you worth black car service, or is this
that's
just
so
like?
true.
It's true.
Oh
Or is
my
this just
gosh,
like
Jack's
some
just
random like we're passing the time kind of date? So some
Changing
girls,
Mikey's
yeah, of
mind.
course, would be worth black car service, and some not so much. So I haven't looked. Do we have an image of the girl in question here? Do we have any of that information? Because if we're talking like, if you're like, I'm sorry, but if you're like a 6 or below, like I'm not paying for a black car.
Oh my
nope.
gosh.
No way.
Oh my
I'm not. I'm not paying for a black car for that. Like that's like I'm like. But if you're a dime like Tanya Tay, then yeah, of course, like black car all day long. But she had her. Now that being said, when Tanya and I started dating, she had her own car, and so like we just drive to meet up usually.
I think part of what
I
goes-
think
meet up
that's
and
the
then eventually
culture
I would pick
now,
her up.
at the least.
Yeah.
Part of what goes into this,
but
frankly,
we also weren't in New York City, so it's it's.
part of what
Just
is
that's-
going into this, frankly, is I think there's a lot of people burned because it is, frankly, a known practice now that a lot of women will just go on dates to get like a free meal out of it,
Yeah, they will.
and to get
And
free attention.
actually, and by the way,
100%.
if you're on Hinge, right? So she's never met the guy before. He doesn't even know if she looks like what her pictures look like. So if this is the very first time they've ever met, he could be getting catfished, right?
Yeah.
And if he's getting catfished, then why would you send an Uber Black? So
Yeah.
so Mikey, again, like this is where I meet you halfway, where I'm saying like it actually depends. Because if you're maybe second date, maybe third date, but you've never met before, or have they done a FaceTime? See, that's, by the way, for guys out there, if you're on a dating app that you want to get around the catfish by FaceTiming, right? So you got to give them the FaceTime test before you meet up, because then you can say, oh, well, let me get your digits. So you get the digits, and you say, okay, let's FaceTime. And if she says no, block her. Just block her.
Do people still use that?
This is
Do
actually
people
the best
still use
thing.
digits?
So this is the best thing. When,
Digits, Instagram, whatever.
We got to bring digits back. I like
Amanda
that way better.
Amanda and I met on Hinge. But
Oh,
it was
did
so
you really?
Yes, but it was so funny.
Did you send her an Uber?
But did you use the test?
No. So I was at.
Did you FaceTime? Did you?
No, I didn't. So literally,
didn't FaceTime? You got FaceTime.
No, so we matched, and I was already at like one of the country bars, and her location showed she was in Mesa, so she was like within like a 15-minute like radius from where I was, and I literally said, "Hey, you should pull up," and she was like, "All right, sounds good," and that's when we met.
Nice.
So
She drove to. Wait, Russ, hold on. She drove to you.
Yes, but I had already drove to her side of town because I was in the area at the bar.
No, but you're saying no. Hold on.
But yes, she drove to me.
You were already there.
Correct.
Before you matched, correct?
Correct.
And then she drove to you.
Yep. And that's
a green light, man. That's a green light.
It was a huge green light.
That's a big old green light right there.
No, it was a
that
good
is not
time.
a red flag. But so I would actually, I'm going to side with the guy here. I'm actually going to side with the guy here and saying that no, in that situation, if they have not done the FaceTime test, if they have not had a date before, they've never met, they haven't even done the FaceTime test, then no, you do not get to demand an Uber Black. Nope.
That's true.
You do not.
I agree. I think I get the idea with it being in New York, but
No, even if she had said,
what I
like,
will
can
say-
you send me an Uber? Like, could you call me an Uber?
yeah,
What I will say is this is a disagreement where I have with Charlie. I think Charlie's advice, take her to dinner, pay for everything, makes sense if it is a person you already knew going into it, such that it's not really a first introduction. My general point of view on dating is because of the whole, some people are just faking out, both potential partners need skin in the game, the very first date, to make sure that they're not just purely wasting each other's time.
I
That's
think you just
usually
try
my
to be a
opinion.
gentleman no matter what.
That's why you say let's meet up at a bookstore. Let's meet up for coffee. Let's meet up for a walk in a park. Let's go see sunset. There's a million different things you can do.
Let's go
that
see
are free.
Odyssey in 70 millimeter and see a Cyclops milk goat cheese.
Can't see how a marriage wouldn't come out of that
Wait,
one.
this
Am
is
I right?
basically the only part of the Odyssey that I liked actually was the part where he's tied to the mast and screaming, because that was basically me internally watching that movie. Oh no!
Jack's like putting wax in his ear.
Shame.
Yeah, I was trying to put the wax in my ear as I watched it. Like, make it stop. So bad.
Yeah.
All right, this is a real marathon thought crime, but we have one last topic that we do want to hit. Mikey's very fired up about this one. Mikey, you've been around some pastors and faith leaders and churches and communities. Who is Catherine Crick?
She's
an apostle, apparently.
She is an apostle. She's part of this like new apostolic Reformation movement, which is like NAR. Let me just kind of tell the history of her. So she started out as an actress like many, many years ago. She ran a company called like Cougars Only. Have you heard about this? Where she like helped people find cougars.
Oh no.
And then she was an actress on like many TV shows. She like played a porn star on a TV show.
She just played one on TV.
She played one on TV. And then she, ended up becoming Christian, right? People can have bad pasts and become Christian, right? She becomes a Christian, but her first thing in Christendom is she starts making like EDM Christian music videos of like her dancing with like all this Christian techno music. And then during like COVID, she started churches outside, and it was very small for like many, many years. And somewhere along the way, she meets this African pastor from Tanzania who like is very much so like Pentecostal, like apostolic, making you fall to the floor, speaking in tongues. And together he like gives her this, she goes out to Tanzania. She's on the stage. Can somebody find this clip? She's on stage, and the Tanzanian pastor gives her the apostate, this apostle anointing, where he's like, yeah, this is it.
Yep.
And then he proceeds to dunk a bottle of plastic water on her head, anointing her an apostle. So she's now an anointed apostle. She claims she's an apostle, and when asked on like multiple Q&A Zoom calls why she's an apostle, she quoted, well, God gave me this anointing, and then out of it, I was gifted furniture, and I was gifted many things, and that's why I'm an apostle. And so it's like already a very weird origin story. But now she will do these, she claims that she does healings, right? And so she'll do these like mass healings. She like puts out videos of her doing healings. She'll like have church services where she'll line people up and she'll just kind of like blow in the microphone and like hit them with the Holy Spirit, and they'll like fall to the floor.
Let's do it. We have some clips of this. Let's see, what's the best one here? How about I don't know if we have an exorcism as a full clip. We got B-roll. Okay, so
see, like this doesn't even really do it just. Like she'll go down, she'll be like, and she'll like blow into the microphone. They'll like start shaking on the ground. She'll be like, "You will fall down in 3, 2." Yeah, there you go. You can see it here, and like, it's also really bad in that she claims that her anointing needs to be refilled by donations, and so like you must. So she'll be like. The anointing goes out and it must be fulfilled and refilled, and because I'm sowing it, and so that's where she'll like ask for money.
All right. Well, so this is some of this stuff is what's been going.
It's very, very cult adjacent.
So we bring this up because it's been going viral. Let's do that again. Needing to refill through donations. Let's do that first. 21.
So now we need to sow specifically for his deliverance and speak. This is for his deliverance and a good amount. The anointing's working right now. You need to be open to God to renounce more things. And even when God puts on your heart to even sow a seed right now online or something, like right now, this is what God wants you to do. Be open to renounce, and he's going to be free completely. I declare in Jesus' name.
For those who couldn't see, this woman who was being preached to sow seeds by donating online or something had her child on the ground, and he looks like he's about 12 or so, and he's like lashing out, like doing kind of air kicks and waving his arms around. I do not know if he was delivered. This is another thing, though. This is what's also getting attention. This is her receiving birthday wishes from supporters. Clip 19.
I love you so much, Mama. Happy early birthday. It is such an honor to serve you. I honor you as your spiritual daughter. I love you, and you're my favorite. You're my favorite person.
Happy birthday, Mama. I love you so much. I cherish this ministry so much.
I love you so much. Thank you for laying down your life that we may live and be equipped and transformed. So I honor you. I love you so much. Happy birthday.
Bless you, my son.
God bless you. I love you. Happy birthday. God bless you.
Thank you. Bless you.
It's an honor to serve you, Apostle Catherine, and I love you so much. Happy birthday.
What's actually bothering me here, especially, is this title of apostle. What's going on?
Well,
with
it's
that,
self-appointed apostle. Like this doesn't even have to be like a debate about that. This is more that like she is a self-appointed apostle. One, two. It's very weird in that like they call her mama, and then she calls her like mentor, the African Tanzanian guy, she calls him daddy. Like when on that stage, when he's like pouring the water, she's like, "Thank you, Daddy," as he's like pouring it's just very weird. Like there's stuff that's weird about it. Also, like her saying that like she must be refilled. Like it almost references like a deficiency, and there is no deficiency in the Holy Spirit. Like I just pulled this up. Ephesians 13 through 14 talks about this. Romans, I think 8 through 9 talks about this. Just like they're
like her mana pool.
Yeah,
is
believers
depleted.
are sealed with the Holy Spirit, who guarantees eternal inheritance, and yet she's offering inheritance, and that it must be refilled with. It's all very odd. It's very weird. It needs to be called out. I mean, we as Christians have a duty to police our own ranks. And we need to call this stuff out. And like the Bible warns about this all the time. Christ warned about this in Matthew, false teachers and false prophets. And like you have to always be on the lookout. I found this girl that is a follower and goes to the church. She's not big. Like she has 1,000 followers. And her videos get like 80 likes. And I was like, I want to like put myself in her mind. Like, what is she thinking? She genuinely believes this. And like she is a member of this church and she believes that she's an apostle and like all these things. And so I immediately just stopped and I'm like, okay, who's my Catherine like Crick? Like who is my, there's something in our lives that we believe so firmly that must be true. It is true. And you give everything, you give your time, your energy, your money to it. And you don't stop to be like, is this of God? Is this a good thing? And so like if you're watching this, you're probably cringing. You're like, this is crazy. It is one, but ask yourself, use this as an opportunity. Where in your life do you have something that you could be totally false, that you're like sowing so much energy being like, that is the truth. That is the truth. That is the way. I am totally behind that. Like I'm putting all my eggs in that basket.
Like $2 million watches, for example.
Or the Odyssey being good.
No, the Odyssey. Thank you. Any other?
Just Christopher Nolan. And there are a lot of people who commit idolatry of Christopher Nolan. 100%.
No, 100%.
Yeah, I think
totally
it comes
agree.
down to idolatry for sure.
She's crazy. This is cult adjacent. For sure. A lot of tendencies here, but like this is not good for the kingdom of Christ, and we have a duty to call this out.
Yeah,
it's a good message.
I agree. I totally agree.
I agree.
I totally agree with this. This kind of reminds me of, and Mikey, you probably remember when we had the last time I think you were here, we had that conversation about Christploitation, and we were talking about like putting Jesus on energy drinks and stuff. And I think for a lot of us, like where we came down on it was like, it's sort of the problem is when you were using the actual image of Christ and putting that, like, just slapping that on your product and without anything other than, like, saying that, like, Jesus wants you to buy this energy drink, you know? And in just a very overt, like, again, garish and gaudy kind of way, as opposed to, like, I think we talked about, like, In and Out, and they just kind of put, like, the Bible verse. So, you know, the passage will be on, like, the bottom of your cup or whatever. Or if you're putting stuff that is Christian, but not, like, you know, just exploiting Jesus as like 100%. Jesus drink.
I think,
you know, like,
I think it comes down to,
and this is obviously exploitation. Like it's obviously exploitation, and this is the kind of stuff that you will go to hell for. If you do this without repenting, you will go to hell for this kind of stuff.
I think this just is another case where we have to continue to like explore everything, like double check everything with Scripture. Just like the Bereans.
Yeah.
Whoever you're listening to, whatever you're reading, anything, go back and look for the Scripture. Look and hold up God's word as the magnifying glass to figure out what is true. And that's the biggest thing. And the more and more that we're in just our culture today, it's just, that's what we got to do.
Yeah.
You know?
For sure.
Yeah.
All right,
Ross, are you going to Invictus?
I want to. I'm so down.
You should pull through.
I'm so down. Let's go.
Yeah, you should come actually.
I am going to Spider-Man.
So I usually listen to the shows, so I didn't realize that was going on. So what do you end up doing? Does anyone know?
Invictus? It's like a state secret, I think.
It's like I don't think the agenda's public yet. Yeah, but it's going to be fun.
Is this the inaugural men's summit?
It's going to be epic.
It's the men's summit, but it's different. We advertised it on the show
only 18 to 26.
Yep.
And the idea of it is that it is,
and it's not a lot of people.
Yeah, you have to apply, and it's invitation only to applicants. And there's going to be participants. We're not going to be releasing the speaker list ahead of time. It's very clever. I must say, this
This is the-
returning
this is
point,
the men-
they're
this is the
very
men's
aware
summit, right?
of
The
what
first
appeals to
men's
young
summit.
men
Yeah.
versus young women, and that
good.
young men want to do something that's maybe a little harder, that's a little more demanding, that isn't like just out front in public and everything. And I think they have a very interesting plan.
Yep.
I think it'd be
But I
fun.
don't know exactly what's going to be involved because I'm not part of the secret plan.
Yeah.
That's true.
And next time I see you guys, I might have a baby. Who
Yeah.
knows?
Hey.
I think Zuzu left a little message.
Hey,
so
hey,
thank you.
hey. You already have a baby.
Yeah, that's so true. So true. We are pro-life up in this, and we I already have
I
a
know
baby.
that. I know what you're saying, but it's true though. It's true that
I will
there's a
have
lot of
it in
people
my
who are like, oh,
hands. That's what I meant.
Like you mean you'll literally have like
Well-
on air?
Hey, maybe I'll bring him
Do you
on
guys
air.
have- do you
Maybe
guys
you'll
have-
just have a baby
do you guys have a name
permanently
yet?
attached to your
Yeah,
name
we
yet?
have a name. We have a name, but it's
Nice.
very Invictus. We're keeping it private.
There it is.
Okay.
That's good.
Yeah.
So we'll like kind of like what Charlie and Erica did. So like just like always private, you mean? Or just private until
no,
the
no,
announcement?
private until he's born, and then I'll tell you
Okay.
on
Got
the
it.
show. It's Agamemnon. and, middle name Odysseus.
Agamemnon Odysseus. You call him AO for short.
Ayo.
You just, when he walks in the room, you just go AO.
Ayo.
AO.
Oh man.
Love it.
That's what we did with AJ because we did Andre Joseph for our second, and I was like, Andre Joseph, that's a mouthful. I'm calling it AJ. And that
AJ.
just stuck. And now he's just
Love
AJ.
that so much. Very excited.
And I'll ask him, like, do you want us to call you Andre? And he's like, but I'm AJ.
I love it.
And I'm like, okay, so he's just AJ.
Nice.
Alrighty, I think that's a perfectly good high note to go out on. So everybody, thank you for joining us. We got through like 8 topics tonight. That was a lot of fun.
That was a lot of fun.
blast. We'll make sure Mikey has fond memories when he's watching all 700 episodes of One Piece with his new baby.
I'm on it.
And while he does that, we
That's
hope
cool.
that he and
No,
all
that's-
of
that
you
was-
will
this is a good episode, guys.
keep committing thought crimes.
Thoughtcrime is death.